there's a movie that just came out recently. It's called The Great Awakening. It was the Plandemic 3 movie from Mickey Willis. And, his first movie talked a little bit about, viruses and things like that. The second one talked about paper trails to Wuhan. And the third one, he really went head on with communism. And he talked about communism versus capitalism. And if you go down that route, what it leads to, how it's kind of infecting the US. I mean, Kim, my daughter's at BU now, and she came back recently and she's like, there are actually students that think communism is better there. And I was like, they're actually believing that? She's like, yeah. And if you go down that route, and this movie takes people down that route, it's all dark. And there's always someone out there that say, yeah, but this time socialism is
different. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
It never works. It never works. It's very scary because I see the same signs, Brian. I see it here in the US, the way they're leading people to schools, the universities and colleges, and now it's going into high schools. They are not institutions of learning. They're institutions of indoctrination. They're indoctrinating these students to start believing that, socialism and communism is great because everybody's equal. The world isn't equal. It doesn't work that way. And just the other day, we did an event at Arizona State University, and it was Robert, Dennis Prager, and Charlie Kirk of Turning Point. And the subject was health, wealth, and happiness. Very non-controversial. It was just an educational event. It was the professors that stood up and said, we don't want Charlie Kirk and Dennis Prager. They're Marxists. They're KKK. They're racist. And they used all this language, and they got the students kind of revved up. And now what the good news is, we did the event. We put a press release out because this was getting so much attention. It was just a simple event, and they've turned it into a political event, which it was not. But as a result, this has now opened the door. Some of the people that were involved have been doing major interviews on major networks. It's become a kind of a test for free speech. And the whole narrative right now, people are using Arizona State and our event as a platform for free speech. And if that was the effect of that event, then I am thrilled, because we're getting knocked out of free speech right, left, and center. You know it on social media. We've experienced it on social media. It's once you have no free speech, you have no community. You have no, what's the word?
Yeah, you have no life.
You have no life. You have no freedom, that's for sure, because it's all propaganda then at that point.
And so you are making some progress with this event. Like, you were able to do it, and it's become a lightning rod, and it's not just getting buried like so many other events did at universities in the last couple of years. So it seems to be making some progress.
Yes. Two of the women that were key people involved from ASU, one was an ASU professor. She was the one that was putting it on, as well as her coworker. They both got fired.
Wow.
And because of bringing Charlie Kirk and Dennis Prager and Robert onto their campus. So she has now been speaking out, and the networks are all picking her up, and a lot of media is picking her up nationwide right now. So it's a really positive thing. I think what we need to do, Brian, is people just have to start standing up. They have to start saying no. And a lot of times that comes from saying no with your wallet, and not well, for me, not patronizing the institutions that are very, very, I'll use the word woke, very, very kind of anti the values that we stand for in capitalism and free markets and free trade, against liberties and freedom. We just have to stand up and say, we're not going down that route.
Yeah. And there's been some great boycotts of some companies out there where people finally have pushed back and say enough is enough. It's nice to see it kind of turning, because from 2020 to 2021, it looked like it was only going one way. Yes. And you made reference. I mean, we were having everything taken off of YouTube, and I was quite literally shocked. I'd spent 9 years putting anything I wanted on YouTube, and all of a sudden, one conversation was deemed violating guidelines, and then the next one, and then the next one. And, when you start taking away people's freedom of speech, everything breaks down.
Yes.
And we all suffer from it. Like we even saw after all the pandemic, if we had actually listened to some of these ideas, we would have saved lives. We would have made progress. And it's always the case. And so it's interesting, Kim, that you bring that up because, ownership of property and ownership of your freedom of speech are linked. They are hand in hand.
Yes.
And so if people want to start talking about not owning property, about going to where the state owns things, pretty soon your free speech will be gone and there won't be much you can do about it. Pretty soon then Big Brother comes next and all of a sudden you're back to some of these very dystopian states that we've seen in the past and we see in the movies. We are already living partial versions of those now. People need to really understand.
Isn't communism one of the or Marxism one of the key components? The abolition of private the abolition of private property, and I see that happening. I mean, taxes are going up right now. People aren't being able to necessarily afford when the interest rates go up, and their mortgage gets refinanced. They can't afford it. People are leaving their homes. So I see that happening, and it looks very subtle, but I'm not so sure. The banking crisis here is far from over. I think there's a plan in place for the banking crisis, which is not a healthy thing. Small banks are just getting squeezed out right and left. So we gotta keep the fight going.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true. And you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I am just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you got to pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.